I would like to begin my remarks by also thanking my colleague, Assemblyman Reed Gusiora, who has worked with tremendous passion and even greater persistence to see this legislation through to this vote today. And there are countless numbers of families across this state who will remember you for a lifetime. And I would also like to extend my thanks to one of our newest members, Assemblyman Eustace, who has sponsored this bill and who has testified with his son before the Judiciary Committee. Your son's testimony was truly from the heart, and I can speak as a father. I know how proud you must be. Your beautiful family, whom you love and cherish, has shown as just one example of the struggles that have affected so many families across the state, because we do not have the full marriage equality here in this state that is justified and that is worthy. I would also like to thank my friend Assemblyman Barnes, who I have already thanked privately. Mr. Barnes ran that Judiciary Committee hearing on this bill with what I consider to be unparalleled dignity and fairness to people on both sides of this aisle. And for every member of this House, for whatever issue you may have, for whatever you may agree, we should all hope that someday we would appear before a committee with a chair that would handle himself with the grace and the dignity that Assemblyman Barnes displayed. I know there are nervous feelings on this debate. Welcome to the oath that you have taken. This is why we are here. If every bill was 80-0 and on consent, you wouldn't need us. But I believe with the comments of those who have been made in the past that when we look back on time, we will be standing in a moment in history what we have decided to do, and the passion with which everyone has brought to this argument will be reflected as times go on. I want to thank all of my colleagues who have engaged in this passionate and most important civil debate. In today's landscape of 30-second sound bites and petty political politicization, today's thoughtful remarks respect the importance of the public policy debates on issues that affect so many families. And that is the key word that boils down this debate into the essence: families. Yours and mine. This debate is not theatrical. This debate is not academic. It is not about sound bites. It is not about poll numbers or pundits or special interests. It is about families, and it is about our values. This debate today is about answering for me one simple question: is our Constitution worth the paper that it has been printed on? Will we provide the true equality under the law that all families deserve, yours and mine? Or will we merely pay lip service to the principles enshrined in our Constitution while continuing to endorse a status quo that has completely and utterly failed to guarantee equality under law? Let me be crystal clear. Our Constitution is the greatest document on the face of the earth. It stands for something, and it means something. It means that every single American is entitled to the equal protection under the laws that it represents, regardless of their personal circumstances and choices. Denying gays and lesbians the right to marry violates this fundamental value of our society: the right and expectation of every single one of our citizens to be treated equally under the laws identified by that Constitution. By any measure, civil unions have failed to live up to those fundamental values and the principles by which we as a legislature thought that when we passed that years ago, it would uphold. That is why enacting marriage equality is about honoring the bedrock principles of our nation, even if those of us who do not agree with them. Make no mistake, today we are casting a vote that will be written about in history books. Each and every one of us will and should vote our conscience. And 50 years from now, marriage equality will be the law of the land here, not just in New Jersey, but across our nation. And our kids and our grandchildren are going to look at this day, a day like today, and wonder, what was all the fuss about? But the fuss is about families. This is about families like Tim Eustace's family. Men and women, parents and children, who are bonded through deep commitment and deep love, who work hard to pay their taxes and contribute to their communities. It is not the kind of family that we cherish, but the love of family that makes our country and our state great. Is our Constitution worth the paper it is printed on? Will we treat all of our families equally under the law? Or will we single out some families for separate and unequal treatment as a matter of law? For me, this question is easy to answer. The time for equality is now. The governor and some of the members of this body have said we need to put this question of fundamental civil rights on the ballot. I understand that. I understand that question. But we have heard often today the history of ballot questions on civil rights issues and how New Jersey, in fact, rejected giving women the right to vote in 1915 when that question was put on the ballot. Imagine as a woman of this House today, if you were denied the equal rights of your male counterparts sitting next to you. Now look in the eyes of the members like Reed Gusiora and Tim Eustace, who sit here today. As you stand here as a woman with equal rights, look in the eyes of your colleagues and friends and determine if, as you cast your vote, what equality must mean to them and to their families. Whether you are a Democrat, a Republican, independent, our constituents sent us here to represent them. They elected us to make tough decisions that affect their families, not to punt these issues to a ballot question. And we owe it to them to make those tough decisions, even when it may not be the most politically comfortable for us to make. Now is not the time to punt. Now is the time to stand up for what is right. Yes, our constituents sent us here today, as every day, to address the most pressing issues of our time. And in New Jersey, yes, those issues are unemployment, where we rank higher than many of our neighbors. Yes, those issues today continue to be ever-increasing property taxes. And yes, for many of our residents, it is about access to quality health care. But why should access to a mortgage in New Jersey be denied to a couple because there are two women as opposed to a man and woman? Why should access to quality health care be denied to a spouse who goes in to check on the well-being of a person they have been committed to for 30, 50 years because they are of the same sex? So as we fight for those bedrock principles and the challenges of our time, if we cannot fight for them equally on an equal footing for all residents, they are not worth fighting for. Today, I will be standing for equality. Today, I choose to stand with my friends Reed and Tim, because our Constitution means something to me, because the founding truths of our state and of our nation mean something to me, and because the families of New Jersey cannot afford for us to wait 1 minute longer for truly equal treatment under the law. Because as history has shown us, not just in this country but in others, when we discriminate against one segment of our society, discrimination against any segment of our society remains alive and must be challenged. Today, Madam Speaker, I stand with you and the courage to make this A-1. And I stand with my friends, and for my friends, Reed and Tim, I will vote yes. Thank you very much.